This is editing me telling you that tomorrow is mid-month book bash, so please join in. I need to bash some books because I've only read one so far this month. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, we're just all gonna play along and try to read a little extra, jumpstart our reading for the month. And I'm gonna show one brief vloggy type clip gloating over the fact that I'm almost done with this school year, but that's it. It's just a few seconds, and then I'm jumping into a ramble about reading, and then a very long a very long monologue on the BookTube prize. So stay around if you're looking forward to that. And then at the very, very end, if you want to scan down to the vloggy bits, it's probably less than a minute or two, but I think I do have a couple little extra bits that I haven't shared yet that I'm going to tack on at the end. So enjoy. My very last spreads for the work agenda for this school year. I'm so happy. Hello, it's Doris with Aldi Books. I'm back. I was gonna be super obnoxious and film, I think it would have been my 32 video day in a row, but I ran out of time. School got kind of hectic. Yeah, so, however, school has slowed down. Oh, I'm so happy. I'm almost at the end of chemistry. I'm there. I'm right there. These are the last 2 days. I'm filming this on Thursday morning. My coworker doesn't come in until 1:30, so those of you that like to see the startled response, Greg won't be seeing it today. Anyway, what was I even talking about? I got sidetracked, but yes. Last 2 days of school, last 2 days of teaching, not last 2 days of school, last 2 days of directly teaching chemistry classes. Next week is finals week, and then the last 4 days of school are just, all that random fluff stuff. So, I can breathe again. I have absolutely loved teaching chemistry. I know, but I'm gonna be excited to have more time once more. It's been a grueling year. Anyway, so can't really film much of a Friday Reads because it is June 8th, and I haven't really done much reading other than not anything to speak of except for still being, there's a bird out there, still being massively consumed by Monstrous, the graphic novel series. I just finished book 4, and Scribd is denying me anymore at the moment. So I went on Amazon and bought Kindle versions of 5 and 6, and was somewhat, I don't know if I'm disturbed or elated to find out that there are actually, I thought it ended at 6, but there are actually 7 in print, and number 8 coming out in November. For real. If any of you are up on Monstrous and can tell me what the plan is there, is number 8 the last? I really thought number 6 was the last one, but was number 6 the last and then she started a spin-off? Or, yeah, fill me in if you know about Monstrous, the graphic novel, because yeah, I am consumed. I'm not gonna lie, it is really, really bloody and gory and violent, but it's so good. More later. But what I really wanted to talk to you about was the BookTube prize. I was so excited about it that I almost filmed a video 32 days in a row, but like I said, I didn't have time. I just ran out of time that day. But I'm gonna give you my excitement about it now. What am I most excited about? don't know. It's all so exciting. But let me just say, I think I mentioned that I was fingers crossed for at least having read 2 of round 3 prior to starting, and like outlier 3, I had read 4. I read 4 already before the round started. 2 from this last round and 1 from the first round, and 1 that I read prior to this year's BookTube prize. I'm so happy. Like, I think I'd only read 2 of the long list, the 48. So the fact that, 4, I only have to read 2 in the next 2 months. And I don't know what my strategy should be. At first I was thinking, well, if I had read 3, maybe I could just take the whole month off and take a break, because I've been reading so much nonfiction this year again, and just read them all in July, which I could do with the 2. But now I'm like, I only have 2 to read. Maybe I should just read them both this month and then be done until the announcement. That would be exciting. I'm sure Robert would appreciate me not turning him in at the end of the wire again. But let's talk about the short long list. I don't know, is the 48 the long list? I feel like it is, but also I feel like the 12 is the long list too. So anyway, have you guys looked at it and analyzed it? Because that's the first thing that I do when I get to the 12, is like analyze it for nature writing content. And so there are 2 what I would consider nature writing on the long list. And there are actually 4 what I would call nature bent science books on the long list. So 4 total, if you count the cells and the environmental issues book. So that's tremendous. And then if you take it a step further and bring in the medical books, it's 6. So half of the long list is science. And then if you add in the psychology book, which to me counts for science as well, we're past the halfway mark. I could not be more elated. I am just thrilled to pieces, okay? Thrilled to pieces. And here is now adding to my dilemma, my reading strategies dilemma for the BookTube prize. I have already read 7 of the long list. 7. And I have to read 2, right? For this round. So that means I'll have read 9 of the long list. And 2 others I really, really want to read, which leaves 1 that I really, really don't want to read. Like, I really don't want to read this one. I haven't mentioned this, but you'll figure it out when I start talking about my rankings for round 2, which I will get to here shortly. But I don't like reading about school shootings, and I don't like reading immigration stories for not exactly personal reasons, work-related reasons, really. Being an ELL teacher, my heart just cannot take school shootings and immigration stories. So, and I feel like I am plenty knowledgeable. It's not a topic that I need to know more about because I'm well-versed. So, one of the remaining is an immigration story that I 100% do not want to read. However, my desire to be a completionist will really, I'm tempted. And also, here's my reading strategy. So, do I read the 2 I have to read now and be done until the next round? Or do I put them off till July? But also, I could read like a regular round. I could read the last 5 and be done with the whole list of 12. And then like the last round, just turn in my ballot on day 1. Boop. I'm tempted. I'm so tempted. Tell me what you think. Don't forget to tell me what you think about Monsters too if you've read it. Anyway, so here are my rankings. Obviously, you all know that I put the 2 nature writing books in position 1 and 2. Obviously, I did that. However, it is a little surprising that David Quammen was in 2nd place, because he's my favorite science writer. Definitely, he's my favorite science writer. Except for Hope Jaron, she is also my favorite science writer for other reasons. But she's only got 2 books out so far. And also, David George Haskell is my favorite nature writing science writer. So I have 3 favorites. It's okay. Anyway, so surprisingly, I put Eating to Extinction in 1st place, Dan Saladino. That book was just fabulous. I thought it was immensely readable. It's like almost like each chapter is an essay, so that makes it more readable in my opinion, because it's short slices, of the topic. And it just combined like travel writing and societal issues with environmental issues, and just really written in an engaging format, just diversely all over the world. And it was just so interesting and so well written and so readable, I thought, number 1. And David Quammen was great. I knew, if you know me, I love me some David Quammen, especially his book Spillover, which I would highly recommend you start with first. I've read it twice. It was so good. And that one is also written kind of in an essay format about zoonotic diseases. So each chapter is a different disease, and the same style with traveling the world and societal issues and environmental issues. So actually very similar to Eating to Extinction, but just a different topic with zoonotic diseases, which are diseases that begin in the animal world and spill over into the human population. So exciting that book is. And I knew, like, I reread it during the pandemic because I knew that David Quammen was going to be writing the definitive COVID book. And he did. It was great. However, one thing I do appreciate about David Quammen is, as a nonfiction writer, he can pick a focus and steer his book to his thesis statement, if you will. And his focus was basically debunking the idea that China created the COVID virus. So he did talk about just all the aspects of COVID and the pandemic, but his focus was environmental, leading toward where the inception was, which is a carryover from how he approached Spillover, which was fabulous. Great book, number 2 for me. But the COVID book that I really want to read, my other love and interest, is Science Superstars, Science Heroes. I really get off on the investigation of diseases and the medical field, and how they just so gallantly fight for human survival and you know, that human interest aspect of it. So I want to read what COVID does to the body. Like, it was such an interesting disease in all of the variety of what's the word, reactions to it. It just wasn't like respiratory or digestive. I mean, it was circulatory. It was not neurotic. You know, your nerves. Words. It's still early. Maybe I need another Coke. There's another bird. Anyway, yeah, I want to read that. And I love reading about the race for the cure, and the people. And there are so many interesting people, you know, with Dolly Parton and the Indian dude that did the research in Nashville, where I'm from, and then the African American woman that did the research and previously and did the other virus. I forget which was which with the Moderna and Pfizer, but and how we were like on the cusp of this technology prior to the pandemic. Like, we were so well set up to find this vaccine as quickly as we did. I just get so excited thinking about it. Anyway, I'll quit gushing and go to number 3. Now, let me say that I thought all 6 of these books were excellent in their own way. All of them, I could see just anybody giving them 4 stars, and depending on your interest, 5 stars. I thought they were all great books. They just weren't all great for me. So, it was kind of difficult to rank. Like, it was tough to rank the first 2, and it was tough to decide the positions for the middle 2, and it was tough to decide the positions for the last 2. So the middle 2 were Facemaker by Lindsay Fitzharris and Secret City by James Kirchick. So those, like, Facemaker was super readable, super engrossing. It's about, again, talking about medical issues and that spirit of, you know, research. But it was the man who kind of pioneered a lot of cutting edge plastic surgery on the face, mainly during World War II. So that one was actually a short book, like under 300 pages, and super readable and engrossing. So tempted to rank it 3rd. However, I put it in 4th, and I put Secret City in 3rd, simply because, like, that one was over 800 pages and definitely dry in places. But for me, the content there, it was about the Secret City being the underground, at least initially, society of the gay population in Washington, D.C., and how they were involved in government inside and outside, and how over time they initiated change in policy for gays and human rights. So I really enjoyed the structure of that. It was sectioned off by presidents. It ended with Clinton and began with someone. I don't know. I don't remember which. Like in the 30s, I want to say. Heidi would know. She's up on her presidents. But it really reminded me of some other history tomes like that. Like the Secret Service guy that worked for the 5 presidents. similar to that. I can't remember which other one, but I think there was one by Doris Kearns Goodwin like that as well. Clint Black was the author of The Secret Service Agent that I'm thinking of, and I think there's a Doris Kearns Goodwin that's that format as well, but just arcing over several presidents. Like, I like books that are written in that snapshot of time, like more of a timeline condensed, although it was over 800 pages, but anyway. So yeah, and I just thought the topic, it was so eye-opening to me, the just abuses of our rights, not just gays, but people in general, with presidents like, what's the dude that got impeached? Oh Lord, I'm sorry. It is so not coming to me, but also Hoover, with was he the FBI? Yeah, it's just horrible abuses of our rights, just clandestine operations, and just gross, absolutely gross. Anyway, so I got a lot out of that, things that I sort of knew, but just didn't really know all that much. It was eye-opening for me, so very enlightened by that book. And so then in last places, 5 and 6 were, Heidi's gonna be so embarrassed for me that I cannot remember the name of that president in this moment in time, but like if I pushed the record button, it would come to me instantly. That's how my mind works, but I'm at 20 minutes and I'm just gonna go with it. So you all can like, type it in the comments after, like, I don't really care. I can look that up myself, but I do want to know what you think about Monstrous and whatever else I told you. There was something else I told you to tell me about. Anyway, let me quit rambling. 5 and 6 were Sandy Hook and Solito, and I really did not enjoy not 1 second of reading Sandy Hook. Not for me at all. Not only was it on a topic that I do not want to read about, I appreciated that she focused on the people who were murdered rather than the person with a gun, but did not enjoy the, like, not just the topic, but it was spun in a emotional, pull at your heartstrings manner, and I would have rather it be written in a more dry, straightforward manner. And I appreciate why she wrote it that way. I get it, but not for me. Not for me. It just wasn't for me. And I know, you know, why people would appreciate it, and I agree with them, but not for me. And then Solito, so Sandy Hook was by Elizabeth Williamson, and then Solito by Javier Zamora. Again, like, I don't like to read immigrant stories, number one, so not for me initially. But sometimes I read books that are not for me, and I end up, or books I don't want to read, and I end up really getting a lot out of them. But this one, like, the writing style, he writes in a very brief, rapid fire manner, which typically I really enjoy. However, like, I read a lot of prose poetry, and I really like that style. And Javier Zamora is himself a poet, and I think that I would like his poetry. I would like to look that up, maybe. However, this was not prose poetry. And I do like short, rapid style writing, but the sentences were brief, but the content was not. So his content, like, it was longer than it needed to be for me. The paragraphs were longer than they needed to be. The chapters were longer than they needed to be. The whole book was longer than it needed to be. It was just like, I found myself skim reading all the time because it just didn't capture my interest on a sentence by sentence, paragraph by paragraph, chapter by chapter level. I was bored. So there's that. And the third issue that I had with it was he is writing about a time period that was super impactful for him, which I get that. But he was 9 years old. Now, I don't have a good memory to begin with, so maybe other people do. I know other people do. My best friend from high school has just like a phenomenal sharp-edged memory. So maybe, yes, she could write a book. And again, you know, it's about a very impactful time in his life. So I can see him having sharp memories. But the very, very detailed way that he wrote about this time period, I just questioned. It felt more like autofiction than nonfiction to me. I definitely am open to him having remembered this. And he went through psychotherapy, so that probably brought up things. But just the very detailed moments in time were just a little too excessive for not just a 9-year-old, but something that happened 20 years ago. I don't know. And I was really hoping that, like, the people that helped him on his journey, I was really hoping that he had reconnected with them prior to writing the book, but he did not. So this is purely from his own memory that he wrote it. So I don't know, but you know, that's a non-issue. I'm just saying, for me, it took me out of the story. So that having been said, I did cry at the end. I'm not gonna lie. The last few pages were excellent, and it really got me. So those are my thoughts about, you know, a BookTube prize. And now I'm gonna tack on a few little, if you're still here, I have a few random video clips that I'm gonna attach at the end. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll be back soon. Bye-bye. Oh, I'll tell you at the beginning. I'll add it to the beginning. Here, it did it. Come on, butterfly. Open sesame. Show us the orange. Oh my goodness. This is one of the ones that was flying so fast, paired up the other day, doing that crazy dance. Now it won't even move. Hello. Oh, the gelato store's looking stylish. So cool. Nice. Hello, bug. You're a cool dude. Froggy. Wow, so fast. Oh my gosh. Nixon.